good morning, and welcome to Duality. I'm your host, Ash, and I'm here with Michelle.
Hi, Ash.
thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm just looking forward to what this experience brings, and I'm just happy to just express myself over here.
Yeah, it's really great platform to do that, and I know we've been brewing this for a while. We've been wanting to collaborate in this way. So I'm happy to have you here and that the timing just like aligned in a really good way.
Yes. And thank you. As you said, divine timing.
For sure. And like the topic in which that we were talking about, usually I would like revisit and be like, because we were going to do a podcast a few weeks ago and then we were going to revisit. And I was like, I don't know. It just feels like it's still resonant.
Honestly,
it's something that is like reoccurring in life in such a big way. Talking about unlearning to learn.
Yeah. So, the topic just came out in a really good time. It's like, it just brought up itself, because I've been in this space where I keep learning and unlearning so many things and just figuring things out, starting from my childhood. Like, I keep revisiting my childhood and asking myself questions about what I've been taught, what I know now, certain basics of what I really know I want out of life, and just like learning so much in general, in a sense that I knew certain things that I really wanted to do as an adult, like when I grew up, like those basics, as much as like the universe always has a plan for us, but then there's still certain elements that stick with us. Those are what helps us cope and move forward. So much that I've been taught that I've been speaking to my friends about this topic, and I was actually talking to one of my friends yesterday, and I was asking him questions about, like, first off, who brought up all of these rules that we are supposed to live by, especially me being a woman. I understand that it comes with certain responsibilities and, like society's like responsibilities and what they expect of us, expectations. But then I'm like, no. The fact that I'm a woman doesn't mean I necessarily have to go in a certain direction, because when it comes to certain light workers, like if you look back in time and even in our current time, it's not everyone who, let's say, for example, has like a kid or is married or does anything of that sort. Some are supposed to just be dedicated to what they are doing, because you have to serve your calling and give it your full time, like undivided attention. It's okay if someone wants to have a family, don't get it wrong, but I really don't think everybody is meant to do everything.
That's a fact, regardless of gender, regardless of where you come from or what's expected of you. And it's up to you to like figure that out. Like, is it for you? Is it just because you're taught that this is the expectation of you? Is it actually for you? Is it something that benefits? And even if it is it for you at the time that you're pressured to do it? Like yesterday.
That part.
Right?
That part.
Like, yesterday I had visited my Aunt Patty. Shout out to her. Love you. And I stopped by her house, and she had given me, she was like, I don't have to mail this now because my birthday's coming up. She's like, here, take your birthday card. And she's like, you didn't get cut off yet. And I'm like, what do you mean there's a cutoff? Like, and she's like, yeah, like when I'm like, well, what age is it? And she's like, no, I cut off your sisters. Like, it's like either when you get married or have kids, like I cut you off. I was like, well, good for me then. I'm like, I got some time. And I'm like, who knows? Might be getting birthday cards forever.
No, that part. So then again, it comes down to, why does one have to be cut off if they have a child or get married? Like, are you
Yep.
fully considered, let's say, an
An
adult?
You're an adult. You're on your
So
own.
you are now on your own.
Mhm.
Like, you are supposed to make all of those decisions yourself. But then I don't really think that should be the case,
I agree.
you know? Because, so back, I'm from a very traditional family with, like, so many values. And being in a space where I didn't really see people who, like, had the same mindset as me. Like, it was really, really hard because, like, you're acting in a certain way, but then you don't see anyone doing that. And you're like, oh my God, am I crazy? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, there must be something wrong. But one thing that I'm forever grateful for is always staying true to myself, regardless of what anyone says. Um, I used to get this, oh, a woman shouldn't, like, do this, else you're not going to get any man to marry you. But then, first off, I don't think none of that was my priority. It is cool to have a life partner, right? But I don't really think it's a priority coming from one who loves to express herself, like by creating art. I feel there's certain things that are bigger than us. So,
And also, it's like, why should I make myself smaller to appease something that I don't even want? That's not even for me, because whatever is for me is going to accept me in full, in my biggest version of me and my smallest version in between. I don't have to minimize myself in order to, like, be appealing, to be less intimidating, to cater to the male gaze, which is really what, as women, I feel like, especially, like, maybe it's starting to change now because our generation raising children and things like that.
people, yeah.
But before that, it's like our parents, their parents, like, they're still coming from such a different kind of upbringing where it was like, yeah, there were people that broke those norms, but it was a lot fewer than I feel like it is now. I feel like every generation is kind of like making more space for, like, just breathing room for different concepts and and especially societal ones where it's like, all right, well, this isn't resonating, this isn't working clearly, like how the divorce rate, all of these different things, people that are unhappy, like, even just talking about that, but like talking about other things too, it's just like you see it's not working. There's a trend. Now we're fortunate in the way of technology and charting and keeping track of things is a lot more accessible for us. So, like, we can actually see statistically. And then you can also just on your own, see statistically with the data that you witness, how many couples do you see that just genuinely aren't happy, but they're like trying to make it work for their kids, or trying to make it work for whatever, or, just a fear of, like, leaving something because of the societal pressure that was put on them, and there's so many different aspects that come up in that way. Same thing with jobs. Like, you see people in our generation and younger are like, nah, fuck this, I'm quitting. But
like they literally just walk out.
Literally.
Like, I'm done.
Because it's like we're not standing for it anymore. And I truly believe that we're unlearning those things to learn how to really make space for our true self and to give space for that healing, because who else is going to do it?
I love that. That is true. That is so true. So for me, I've been fortunate to have been raised by a very open-minded man who believes in the traditional values of, like, a woman, but still believes a woman needs to be independent and be able to stand on her own feet. I mean, it's okay if you get married or have a man who does all of that for you, but it's important to learn how to stand on your own feet.
For sure.
Yeah. So I feel speaking to people, traveling to places is able to put you in this space where your mind just opens to a certain level where you are able to make certain decisions for yourself and just think with that open mind. I felt this shed of my skin. It's like a part of me just like died. That was actually last week. It's so crazy how it just happened. Yeah. And I'm just like, I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, who are you? Like, who am I? I don't even
energy today.
yeah. I'm like, I don't even recognize myself, and that's not even a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's in a good way, and I like it because I've shared off everything that I used to know, and I'm starting to experience life in its truest form of how I really, really want to live. I happened to go for this event. It was like a rave. It was the best time of my life. Yeah. I woke up, like, I didn't even sleep. I went home. I was just up. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? It felt so good. And it's not everyone who'd want to be in a crowd like that, but that was the best crowd that I've been in. I've been for so many raves, but this crowd in particular, it made me question so many things. I felt I could breathe. There was this weight like lifted off my chest. Like I could really feel myself breathing. Like it was so calm. I'm like, I didn't have to do it too much and I can breathe. So it got me like questioning a lot of things. I'm like, who exactly is the problem over here? You know, is it the person who doesn't want to hang around this crowd, or is it this crowd that is the problem? That is something that the viewer needs to ask themselves, you know, because I'm like, I feel at home here. Like this feels very real to me. I don't have to imagine anything or have this like imaginary friend. Like this is
Just
actually
be there and it's there.
yeah,
You.
this is real.
I feel like that's like a perfect like prompt of like, you know, everybody has that pocket, you know,
Yeah.
somebody else might go into that same rave and not have that experience, but it doesn't mean that like that's a problem. It just more so is like, you know, they're just not in the area or the pocket that gives them that. Some people go like bike riding with a bunch of people who like bike riding. They have that same energy that you're talking about, you know, in these different spaces. And I think that, you know, just as we unlearn how to be so codependent on, you know, if we're talking heteronormative, like, you know, upon a man or upon the masculine figure, right? When we unlearn that and we start becoming independent, we also have to unlearn being hyper independent, right? Because we need the space to have these moments. Like you went to this rave and you were able to connect with people. No matter how independent you got to be, you got to connect with people. Like it's a part of human nature. When we don't, we feel that aloneness. We feel that isolation, that lack, you know, and then that could show up in funny ways. I feel like a lot of times when people feel isolated, that's a lot of times when people want to connect, and usually that looks like romantically, like they want to connect, they want to like, you know, and then the society we live in just explains connection to like having sex, right? So then people tend to have sex with a lot of people when they're feeling isolated, and then when they and instead of like what they actually want to do is connect with people, and it's just like, yes, having sex is connecting people, the most literal, like
in the most little way,
the most intense way you can connect with somebody. But just if you connect with somebody physically or sexually in that matter, it doesn't mean you're going to get that need met. Like, because you could be looking for emotional connection, you could be looking for that mental connection, that communicative connection, you know, and to feel seen, to feel heard. And not everybody you sleep with is going to see you or hear you. They just kind of want it to get an objective done, you know. And it's like,
first off, like, it's not everyone who views sex like, you know, the same way that you might view sex, because others is just a pleasurable, like, you know, experience. Like, yeah, we are just doing it and we are done. Yeah, now let's go move on with our lives. But for others, it's like much more intense, as you mentioned. Like they connect on a deeper level. So speaking of connection, we as humans are social beings. And For me, I enjoy social connection. I like the whole idea of being out with people, just like talking, even if it's just sitting there staring at, like, the sun, being at the park, walking in nature, whatever it is, just that connection to feel something real. Like for me, that is real to me. Talking to someone, just fully expressing myself, saying whatever is on my mind, doing silly dances, like that is like, a certain level of connection. And I personally feel once people can dance together, you can live together. Music is a language that not everyone understands, but if everyone is able to understand this concept of music and what music does for us, I feel we would all live in peace and harmony, honestly.
Absolutely. Music is such a catalyst to just like connection in so many ways, like whether virtually, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally,
It's
like
very
everything.
intense.
For sure. For sure.
It is very intense. So I've learned that, and I used to do all of this in my room, having my mini raves, listening to music.
Love that. Love that. Look at you manifesting your whole reality.
Right? Let's drink to that. Let's drink to
Cheers.
the cheers. Speaking of manifesting my reality, I don't know, like, God, if you're out there, thank you. Like, I feel so many things that I've actually wanted to do. I'm able to do it. So that is where I felt this, like, old death, like, of me, and I embraced this new beginning. Because as a kid, I used to be indoors, like, a lot, but I used to listen to music, like, all the time. I remember my dad got me this music like box, and he bought my brother a computer. And I'm asking, why why didn't you get me a computer? Like, I was so mad back then. I was like big mad. But then yeah. But then I still took that music box, and I'm still playing my music. And my dad has like this whole range of music, like, collection CDs. Like, he installed a lot of the music on the computer also. I was able to use it, but it wasn't mine. That was the problem. But I still listen to my music. Like, I remember music was the only thing that helped me cope. I used to love going out, walking in nature. Like, all of that made me very happy. But music was that, like, middle point for me. It connected everything. So I used to watch these music videos, and I'll be like, oh my God, this is so fun. I want to do this. Like, why am I just at home sleeping, doing this? Like, it amazes me how, as a child, as one would say, like, really young, how I understood that concept that doing this will make you release all the, like, that stress. Like, music is life. And we have a whole lot of bands in my country also, and especially the parts that I'm from, we have this music group called it's a kind of like song which we call bobobo. It's a genre of music, like, how we have like hip hop. Ours is bobobo. We have something called akpese. Yeah. If you don't know what language that is Ewe from the Volta region in Ghana. So these music groups, we have the drummers, we have the women who are out there to dance. Trust me, those women, I think they invented twerking, because if you had to look at any of those videos, you will see a lot of the booty movements, like, and it's crazy. So we have the drummers, we have the people playing the rattles. Like, there's a whole range of instruments. So all those little sounds that they make and everything comes together, and it sounds so amazing. So I didn't know where that love came from, but I had to really dig in, and I'm like, it is probably that, because I don't understand how much, like, this music is in me. Why is it in me so much? Like, some can go days without listening to music. Like, music is a medicine for me. Like, once I wake up, it has to be on. So I just love what it does for me, what it does for others, how it brings us together. And we don't necessarily have to know each other or know anything about each other in that moment. It's okay, but that language just binds us together. So for me, learning about individuality, learning about, like, staying true to myself, like my truest self. Like, I used to joke with my friends and I'm like, what if I marry 3 men at a go? Is there something going to be wrong with that? And they're like, are you crazy? What is wrong with you? And I'm like, there's certain religions that the men are free to marry, like, 3, 4 women, whatever. It's okay. But then, why is that women cannot do that? Why can't it be the other way around,
Well, we live in a day and age where you can do now you can do that.
So that's what I'm saying. But we still have people who are not, like, so open-minded. I mean, we are fortunate to be in a space where we literally see everything in America.
Yeah.
It's not the same everywhere. Like, people are still struggling for their rights as a human in other parts of the world. So we are fortunate here to be able to fully express yourself. Like, you see someone doing the most random thing over here, like something you've not even seen before, but nobody really cares because you can fully express yourself here.
Especially in New York, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. But when you go to the other side, it's not that way. So I feel we are still going to get there where, like, everyone will be able to, like, live to their truest self. As much as you're not hurting anybody in that process, it's totally okay to live up to your truest potential.
For sure. I agree.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like there is something that I wanted to say and I, like, forgot it.
Oh, no.
But it's okay. It'll come back if it's meant to.
Okay.
But yeah, like, I completely agree with what you're saying. There's just so many different things that I feel like also people in America that we take for granted. It's just like, like the freedom that we have to given, like, there's a lot of rules and regulations too. There are laws, there are things that are combating it, but as opposed to, like, other countries, the extremes of that. Yeah. That I feel like, we sometimes take for granted because we're just, not exposed to it or forget even if we were exposed to it and things of that sort, but just making that space to, like, really unlearn the things that it's like, I feel like right now, even for myself and for a lot of people that I'm close with, we've been just talking about how it's almost like when your phone's on max storage, you have a choice. You either purchase more storage or you get rid of things, or sometimes both, if you have the funds to do both or whatever the case is. And I feel like that happens to our inner being. Like, I noticed that happens on my phone when I need to do that to myself. Like, it happens to my house when I need to do that to myself. Yeah. Like, right now I'm in this process of, like, really just asking myself, what do I need? Like, what do I actually need? And, like, separating things and sorting through things and, like, then getting on my phone for, like, 2 hours in the middle of all of the things I'm sorting, like, trying to get back to it and waiting for the last minute to do the things. But, just being a human, right? Yeah. Just having a human experience. And in that process, I'm, like, unlearning so much. It's, like, something that one of my teachers, Joe Soto, always said, is just, like, you have to make space for it. Like, you have to unlearn these things. Like, for the things that you want, you need to unlearn the things that you don't want. Like, you can't have both, and, like, even if you do have both, like, you're choosing one or the other in a space, and maybe that thing that you want is still around, but it's not in the forefront.
The scale of preference, you need to pick one.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you said, like, just being human and what do you really want? making space for what you really, really want. I really felt that really, really deep, if I'm to say, because I like using this word. I am human, and not spelled in the HUMAN, but HUE hyphenated MAN. Human. That means we come in different hues and colors and shades, and like some are tinted, some are darker. Like we can have just the color red and get like a whole range of like, shades to create a palette out of. So being human, it means we are all very different and we all come in like our own unique color. It's okay.
That's a beautiful way to put it. You know, like colors are they're always a thing, just like music is always a thing for me.
Yeah.
But like colors specifically, like this week, these past 2 weeks, it's just been like so fixated on colors. I actually found out that in Korea that I think they have them out here too. There's a person that you can go to get like a color something where they put a bunch of sheets of different fabrics on you to see what colors look good on you.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that.
So that day, some fashion designers actually do that. Like, as you mentioned in Korea, they do that to see what color actually looks good on you, what complements your skin tone better. Yeah, I think that's actually cool.
It's so cool.
That's
and
cool.
Like, there's different things. Like the person that I was watching, they were like a deep autumn. So they have different like seasons of what colors look good on you, and then the color schemes. I'm like, that's amazing.
How do they even think about that?
It's just like, people are just incredible.
Honestly, it amazes me things that we as humans do, especially when you get deep into yourself and like just deep into yourself to get all that like information. I think it's amazing.
The things that you can create when you allow yourself to be yourself is amazing. It's like
That's
just
so
giving
deep. Nah, that is so deep.
It's like it's how are we going to create new things if we don't allow ourselves the space to just like be and
making space to be
and just to exist and to move through it, to like to be able to mess up, to do good, to create a new invention. Like everybody looks crazy, it's like, what do you mean you're gonna make something that flies? Like only birds can fly. Like what do you mean you're gonna make something that moves? Like only horses and animals can move. Now we have cars and airplanes. Like these people look crazy. You look at Leonardo da Vinci and stuff like that. Like all of his inventions, people thought he was nuts, but then also the people who knew he wasn't was burning his shit. Because they were like, no, he knows too much. We gotta, so it's like you run the risk of a lot when you're yourself. But I think it's riskier to not be yourself. I think it's riskier to like
conform.
Yeah. At least for like a person like myself, I feel like, a person like yourself, where we're so passionately existing in this life.
The luxury of passion.
And to throw water on a fire, like to soak a fire down where it's like not being able to live its experience, not splashing water on it, but to soak it down is like, it's dampening, literally, and doing that does a lot to the soul, does a lot to the person. It makes you not want to move forward. And that's why sometimes when we do get our fires put out, it's hard to get started again because we're like, damn, like I worked so hard on that, this, that, and the third. Like, is it going to just get put out again? Probably. Should you do it? Yeah, for sure. Like, you should still do
it. No, I felt that really, 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 really deep. Working so hard to keep the fire burning, and you just randomly just like throw this water on it and just kill it. So, something I've been trying to do is to keep that fire burning, but I feel like that consistency is sometimes really hard. But then again, that's where we have the universe sending us all these signs, and just you as an individual paying attention and realizing each season. Like, I'm heavy on seasons. I didn't used to understand why I was feeling a certain way in a specific time, or why I was doing this in this period, but I started paying attention and I realized that so things keep going round and round and round.
And there's the macro and the micro with that, especially as women specifically, because each week is a different season.
Oh my
Each
God,
week
tell me
on
about
our
it.
cycle is literally a different season, from our luteal to our follicular to our menstrual to our ovulation. Each of them is a different season. And then we have the actual seasons of the year, right? And it's just, and then the seasons emotionally.
Oh my God, that's like a lot.
It's a lot, for sure, for sure. Like, you
Just
know,
being a woman. But I love being a woman.
yeah, it's pretty good.
It's so amazing. I'm able to create like life.
We're able to destroy too every month when we bleed, you know. So it's like it's a balance, you know, and it's such a powerful force that we have as women, you know. And I'm grateful, you know. I feel like I was born in this life to be a woman, despite sometimes like not feeling like that throughout my journey and being a human and being alive. I feel like because I'm physically this way, that's what I was supposed to do. So I do my best to honor that, even when I don't feel like, I'm like, oh, it would be so much easier just be a dude right now. You know?
Oh my God. I used to think the same way because before I ended up having a little sister. I'm just one girl in between two boys, okay? It's just three of us. And even before my younger brother came, my dad used to tell me how much my brother would literally grab my hands and drag me to go outside to play with him. So it's always been a rough play for me, like really, really, really rough. So it took me some time to actually embrace my femininity and just like embrace that softness and understand that first off, we can both be doing the same thing, but my body has been built differently. I'm going to feel things differently than how my brothers feel things. And it's very okay. That makes me very unique in my own way.
For sure.
But I got to appreciate being a woman and just enjoying the ride it comes with.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it.
Honestly, same here.
It's like, you know, another thing that I've been like, I want to just like give space and give a shout out to Liquid Vibes. Like, shout out to you. I had this incredible juice cleanse for the past 3 days. Somehow I still have more juices. I think I was like 10. It's like you could drink 4 to 6 juices, but I was only drinking 4. So I'm on day 4 of a 3-day cleanse.
How's it
but
going?
like, so like it's great now. You know what I mean? It was, it was a struggle in the beginning, but I feel like, you know, the reason I make space for that and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because first off, like if anybody wants a juice cleanse, definitely I'm gonna link them. You know, Liquid Vibes Juice Co. Look them up on Instagram. Really incredible. The blends are incredible. Like, don't get me wrong. I have a juicer. I can juice. For sure. Sometimes you just need somebody else,
of course,
to help you. And I'm so happy to support a beautiful woman in our community who is just pouring like love into her products. And oh my God, it's so good. The blends are so good and yummy. Really nice. And it felt really good to also be nourished by somebody else in my community and in our community, you know? And I think that that's so important because, like, once again, unlearning the hyper individualism, right? Okay, surrender. I don't have the mental capacity to go out and get juices and do this right now. Okay, so what can I do? Oh, I met this woman at this event. She does juices. Okay, let me reach out and do that. I love that you just
brought this up. I love it.
Do you have a thought? Do you have something?
Yeah, because I've been doing a lot of that where, like, from time, what I can remember, I love to let people serve me. I'm like, there's someone out here who enjoys doing this. The person wants to nourish me. Why not? Do it for me. I don't have to be a superwoman. I'm not going to. So
I accept the help. Coming to that space of like, I accept the help. And like doing that is like unlearning that I have to do it on my own.
In every little way that I can. For some reason, it's something that I've been very good at. That's like my specialty. I love getting help. Like, I really don't mind. Help me. It's cool. Like, example, especially when it comes to food. I love it when my mom cooks. Like, there's certain family members that I love it when they cook. I'm like, please, can you cook for me? Because I can do that. I would rather want to eat your food and not my food. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's good to be nourished by other people and to realize like when it's time to call out for that. And like, I just felt really strongly like I've been feeling it for a while that I need a cleanse, but I haven't had the capacity to just do it. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just buy it. Let me just invest in this for myself. And doing that, now I'm on day 4, and it's like I feels good. It feels good because I'm unlearning, right? How am I unlearning? I'm unlearning the action of eating every time I feel uncomfortable. I'm an emotional eater. Okay. So it's like I'm bored. I don't really get bored, to be honest. It's just like space, overthinking. Like, you know,
I
like,
understand.
Like, am I stimulated, understimulated, like happy, sad, mad? Like, oh, okay, let me eat something about it. Like, even if it's just fruit or whatever, but you know, sometimes it's just not that good.
Something to go in there. Yeah.
It's just an action, right? It's like discomfort, and it's like putting something rather than feeling what's in my body. I'm putting something in my body. Rather than feeling into an emotion, I'm automatically like, this is hunger, I need to put it in there. Or this is thirst, I need to drink something about it. You know, so it's like in this process, day 4 of me doing this juice fast is like, you know, the first day I had some watermelon because I didn't want to go bad. I'm like, I'm not going to not eat this, you know? So I'm like, watermelon's basically juice. So I just had like, it was like 6 pieces of watermelon. I ate that. And then I had like 5 olives, and I'm like, oh, these olives are so good. Wish I would have got more, but it's okay. It's okay. And then the next day I will snitch on myself. I did tax my friend Bree's Wendy's french fries. I had like 3 of them. So I did bad, but not so bad. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
okay.
It was really hard to sit in the driver's seat when like I'm ordering for my friend, and I'm like, damn, I want a burger. Damn, I want french fries so bad. So I was like, wait, let me get one more.
It's okay.
You know,
it's
and I'm
okay.
like, it's all right in the scheme of things. That was day 1, you know, and just having the compassion for me to be like, all right, you did it, but look at the rest of your day.
I love
Gave
that.
me the space to continue to try on. The next day, I was working with my friend. She makes the best salads. I'm not gonna not have a salad from her. I would be depriving myself of nourishment in any way. Like, I love her salads, so you know, shout out to Ava, because best soaps, best salads.
Love it.
Ava Quinns. And I almost just ate the mic. But yeah, all of that to say, like, in these processes, I'm saying these things, and they might seem like minimal or like minuscule, but like in these processes within the past few days was like me learning and unlearning. Like, okay, like, well, unlearning to learn, right? Okay. All right, I shouldn't do that. I'm making space. Like, when you do a cleanse, when you fast, when you make your body empty, like, you're able to see like what feels good for you and what doesn't feel good for you is very loud.
That is true.
Very loud because it doesn't have stuff to just like take it in.
Distractions.
Yeah, it's like, you're not distracted by the fact that, oh, I'm full. Oh, I'm hungry. Yeah, you are. But like, what else are you? You know, and it's like, oh, I'm anxious. Why am I anxious? Oh, I'm sad. Why am I sad? Why? I'm happy. Why am I happy? And it's like, even if just having a conversation with somebody, like yesterday I had like, shout out to my homegirl that, like, you know, she also my client. Like, I rescheduled our treatment because I was like, I'm on day 3 of this cleanse, and I feel so sensitive. I'm so porous, and I would prefer to work on you another day, because I had to choose me on learning.
I mean, you were aware of that.
Yeah, and that
being aware of that
requires the unlearning of the people pleasing, of like, no, I have to do this. Oh, money. Oh, this. Oh, that. Like, no, priority is like my health and your health. And if I feel like I can't provide to the like a good percentage of like a high percentage of optimal, like, obviously nothing can be perfect. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I feel better if we can do this on Thursday. And just being able to make space for that was a process of unlearning, to learn how to honor myself, to learn how to, you know, make space for my process of just like cleaning out, because we need a clean house. Yeah. We need to clean house. It's just, it's so important to do so. And like you were saying, like last week you felt like, oh, who is she? You know, like this morning I literally walked in and I have my blonde wig on, which I'm never blonde.
And it looks so
like,
cute.
Thank you so much.
It.
$25 on Amazon, you know what I'm saying?
It looks cute. I love it. You're rocking it, okay?
I appreciate it, you know, and it's like, you know, I walked in and I said to Kenny, I was like, who is she? Like,
she's that girl.
I was like, 'cause it's like, you know, I'm exploring this other realm of myself recently, and that's like feeling safe to be in my feminine. And I feel like I haven't been in this season. I don't think I've ever truly been in this season in an authentic, safe way. Anytime I've really exuded femininity was, I mean, I've had doubles. I've definitely had made space, but in that time it was like an extreme, right? And then when I was younger, it was just because I felt like I couldn't exude anything else. Like I wasn't allowed to because of societal, this is how you should be. Yeah. And anytime I would step outside that norm, which I did all the time because I am true to myself, it would just be so discomforting because of the responses of people like, oh, you look like this, you're that, like just because I'm not, because I'm wearing a football jersey or whatever. And it's like, these things, like looking back, aren't even actual insults, but they were said to be insults, and I took them as such. So that actually made me like suppress certain things about myself too. Like even in the aspect of like dressing more masculine, being like, "What are you, lesbians?" Like turns out, kind of, actually.
Like the fact that one dresses in a certain way. Like I understand clothes, like, were created to differentiate, like, genders, but we live in a space where you can wear whatever makes you comfortable. That doesn't make you less of a man or a woman. Just be comfortable, like be yourself.
Absolutely.
That is it. I used to get a lot of that, like with the way I used to dress, and I mean, I still dress the same way, don't get it wrong. I have my time for everything. And you're like, wait, are you lesbian? And I'm like, no, I'm not. But I stopped explaining myself. I'm like...
It's like the way we just shouldn't be equated to our sexuality. Exactly. And honestly, our sexuality is no one's business besides the people we're being
like
with.
Clothes are just meant to protect and, like, protect our skin from, like, all of these, like, harmful stuff.
Factors. Yeah.
So... it's okay. Once you're comfortable in what you're wearing, please. It's okay.
Yeah. And just to embrace that and just to unlearn anything that took you away from that space to do that, and just continuing to unlearn the things that just feel like when you feel like you're at max capacity, like just pivoting, like, so now how can that look, for somebody who's like, all right, I get it, I need to unlearn to learn, but like, how do I even do it? All right, let's break it down. Let's break it into bite-sized pieces. What's the first thing in front of you? What feels, like you said in the question, I was like, how do you know you need to unlearn something? Yeah. And you're like, you just feel it. You know something has to go. Like you feel it. And in that space, when you feel it, first and foremost, the first thing to do is just acknowledge that it's valid. Yeah. Acknowledge that that's valid, and then you can think about, because it's going to look different for everybody, but if it's like, okay, I am like smoking weed every single time I feel any emotion, right? Like, and maybe it feels like, it's time to not do that. You feel that sensation. Yeah. Or whatever, like whatever anyone's choice. It could be tobacco, it could be drinking, it could be anything, whatever. It could be calling somebody, it could be whatever, when you feel that feeling, what does the next step look like? And it's like, okay, well, how can I, first of all, find a way to make myself feel safe? Like, how can I neutralize and neutralize and unarm my central nervous system? Like, how can I regulate myself? Because that's the first thing. If we're doing things to leave our body, it's because we're not regulated. We don't feel safe in our body. So the first step is, how can I, even in just this moment, say, okay, should I close my eyes? Like, should I hug myself? Like, should I hold myself? Should I breathe? Like, should I tap? There's different tapping points that you can tap. What can you do in that moment? Some people put on music and dance, what I'm saying? Shake it out, like sing, whatever the case is. Go for a walk, go for a run.
Throwing some cold water on your face.
Putting some cold water on your face.
Or your whole body.
Taking a shower, whatever it is. Like, there's so many different aspects of like what you can do. I truly believe that whoever you are and whatever you're doing, whatever you want to learn and whatever you need to unlearn before you can have the capacity to retain and learn the things that you want to, it starts with that, creating your safe space for yourself.
You need to make space for whatever you want and just allow it to be,
or else it'll keep coming back. That's the thing. Like, if you don't make the space, if you don't genuinely make yourself a safe space to identify what is good and what isn't good for you, what isn't good for you will just continue to regenerate. because a part of you likes it. Like, and it's fucked up. It's like, and I don't mean it like, oh, like you like it, like you're a bad person. No, like a part of you, it's not like liking, it's comfortable. It's used to it. You know, it's like, I used to catch myself all the time in relationships. Like if everything was chill, like I needed to like, I needed to like not even skedaddle. Sometimes I would feel that urge, but more so I need to be like what's going on? Like why is it chill? Like waiting for the shoe to drop. Sometimes that would look like me exuding like just straight toxicity and like going looking for things or doing different things, and it would make me like, okay, like this is too calm, this is too good to be true, which in most cases it was. So I'm not going to deny my intuition, but you know, other times it wasn't, and I was just searching for it, and then when you search you find in one way or another, you know. So it was like I had to like come to that space of like, all right, well, I don't want to keep doing that. I remember like the last person I said, I was like 16, 17, the last one of my ex-partners, and I said, I'm never going to look through someone's phone again. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, at the end of the day, if I feel like I have to look through someone's phone, the relationship's already over. Because it's already done.
The thought of that alone, that means it's not there.
It's either I don't trust you, or like you've given me a reason not to trust you. Either way, we shouldn't be in this relationship. So I like made that pact with myself, and I honored it until another relationship came up, and loophole, it was a tablet, and loophole, we were watching a movie, and I was just trying to shut something off, and then I seen him.
Oh my God,
that was crazy, but that was divine because it was meant to happen. It was truly meant to happen because I didn't go looking for it either. That was just kind of presented in my face, and you know, I say that to say is like I noticed that, so I unlearned it. Like, okay, you learn. If you feel suspicious, you go through a phone, right? Society wants to like glorify it, make jokes about it, put it everywhere, right? But then you unlearn that and you make the space. Now I had that bracket. If I even feel like I need to do it, then I already know it's a red flag. And then you keep on going. Then you realize, then you start either dating, interacting, or just having experiences, even if it's not unrelated to what I was just talking about, where you can identify it, and you unlearn the ways that you were used to something, and you learn something new. Okay, you know, I don't need to do that. Actually, like if I'm going to choose to be in partnership with somebody, like it's because I innately trust them with my whole being, you know, and I'm not gonna be like, if he like, do I actually like, if that's the case, then I shouldn't even be in it at all, you know, and like just making the space for the reality of things. And that's the same thing with business partnerships. That's the same thing with friendships, with work dynamics, even with family, you know, even though it's a little bit more sticky with that. You just realize, like, if you continue to do the same thing, you're insane, right? You're doing the same thing. You're expecting different results, literally the definition of insanity. And then you choose, like, I don't want to be insane anymore. Like, I'm just trying to not do that. Like, I'm just trying to, like, be chill.
That is so deep. That's deep.
And just finding those ways. And that's what we're talking about here, is just, like, every day looking at these different things. It doesn't mean, like, every day looking at these. It sounds very daunting and overwhelming. I'm not trying to say it like that. But, like, you know, just, like, finding a way that when things present themselves to you, that you can be like,
is this it? It's not it.
It's not it. Literally, it could be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be that deep. It could just be like, this isn't it. This don't feel good.
You just recognize it.
Yeah. And you choose what to do. You know, it's going to look different for everyone, every process. So it's just like identifying that. That's why, like, when your response to that question was like just so important. It was so like, it was exactly, I feel like it's like you just saying, you just know it. It's so affirming. And I feel like so many people need to hear that. Like, you just know. All you have to do is trust yourself that you know. You already know.
And also, I feel like being able to get into that space where you feel it requires elimination of, like, you know, so much in order to just tune into yourself, to know what exactly it is you are feeling. It can be like, you know, fasting. I love to fast. Fasting is, like, you know, incredible for me. When I feel very empty, I'm able to, you know, hear myself better and just feel everything going on around me. Fasting, just even walking out in nature. It makes you feel very light. You are able to feel like, better. And abstaining from, like, people sometimes is very important, just to be by yourself. I consider all of that fasting. It doesn't necessarily have to be about food. Like,
it could be talking. You just not talk for a day and you're fasting from speech.
Yeah. So fasting comes in so many forms. Like, it helps.
For sure. It brings you closer to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you just, like, the things that are unavoidable, or are avoidable, become unavoidable. And, you have the opportunity to either still distract yourself or to do something about it, or just to be present. I feel like the most important thing for me anytime I've fasted is just to be like just to look at it. Okay. To look at what's coming up, like to watch what's happening. Okay. Like sometimes I speak on things too fast. And I feel like when I fast, like there's different layers. Like even yesterday I felt like I was very sensitive, and I felt like I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have fasted from speaking to everyone yesterday.
No, it's okay.
And well, I say that because in hindsight, which I have compassion for, and that's fine. It's just like because of how much was coming up for me. I'm just grateful I spoke in safe spaces, and that's good. It's like, especially like day 3, I feel like of fasting is like such. Whether juice fast, whatever it is, whatever fast, the 3rd day is just like a day that like really, you really shadow box in parts of yourself in like a really real way. And it's so crazy because it can also not seem like that. So it's just so important to have that safe space to reflect, whether like in a notebook, voice recordings, even speaking out loud. Yeah, for sure.
Journaling does that too.
It's just definitely like, it helps you put things into perspective when you put it in front of you physically, where you can look at it, like even if it's just like a word, like one of those like brainstorm maps. Like.
Yeah, I agree. Anything to just help you break it down of what you're feeling or whatever thoughts it is that you have, definitely.
Yeah.
For sure. Yes, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there any other advice that you have for anybody that could be experiencing like the reality of like wanting to unlearn, not knowing where to start, or wanting to learn something new, or whatever the case is?
My only advice would be, whatever it is, just do it. Whatever it is that you have in your mind, what you want to do, it's going to be the same thing. Just do it. Don't think about what your family, friends, sometimes we can be so like tied to our family that every decision that we try to make, it goes back to them. So just cut all of that from your mind. Use your own thoughts. Like, you have your God-given senses. Just think for yourself first and foremost before you seek out any advice. Yeah. So just do it. I live by just do it. Yeah, think it through. If you really want to do it, just do it. Period.
Yeah.
That is it. Like, nothing crazy.
Just listen and honor yourself.
Yeah, because for me, life is too short to keep debating on, do I want this? Do I want to not do this? Is this what I want? Once you figured out what you want, just go after it. Yeah. By any means possible. And just live. Breathe. Yeah. Just breathe.
I want to take a deep breath.
Please, let's do that. Yeah. So just breathe. Breathe easy and take it easy. Be kind to your mental. It's very important. Take care of your mental.
For sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your words and your experience.
Thank you. I feel light and it feels so good.
It was so lovely having you here.
Yes,
it's always lovely seeing you. Since the moment I met you, I was like, oh my God, I want to be friends with you. Let's talk.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, I appreciate everything you do and how you keep looking out. I appreciate every part of it.
Of course,
and I'm
same.
grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you too.
Yes.
I'm grateful for you too. Like you've been just like, you come into my mind at these different moments, and yeah, I'm just appreciative to meet you.
Yeah, I'm thankful.
Yeah, and shout out to you, like really like coming in clutch today for sure, like saving grace. I'll mention it. I'll mention it after the fact. I feel like I don't even want to mention it now. I'm like, but
I got you.
In like 2 weeks, I'm gonna shout you back out and I'm gonna talk about it. Maybe I'll like put up pictures of what we're talking about.
I got you.
But if there's anything else that you want to share, do you want to share like any of your Instagram or anything, or you can remain, anonymous in that way, whatever you feel.
No, it's fine. I mean, you'll be seeing me more.
Mm-hmm,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more to come, more where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
you have a show too, right?
Yes.
I'm like seeing what you want me to plug in or not. I'm like, huh?
I mean, for now, we are just taking it easy
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing where the wind and the sun, the waves, where it all takes me. So as time goes on, at the right time, I believe it's all going to unveil on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shout out to that. So just stay tuned. Just stay tuned.
Yeah. Watch out. Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. There may or may not be a podcast next week, but there'll definitely be one the following week. And yeah, just stay tuned. Happy summer. This is gonna be the last one in June.
Oh,
so shout out to June and what June has brought all of us in a good way like that. And anything else that I forgot, I apologize, but I send love to each and every one of you. Thank you for doing this thing, like listening and speaking and watching and talking. And
we might as well have an in-person meetup and just like talk. How cool would that be?
So,
at the park.
So, oh my God, that would be great. Like anybody, I mean, like y'all have my Instagram, if that's something, anybody who's local, also even virtual, that's something that's cool because there's a lot of people that have been tapping in that are international, and I want to make space for that too.
Okay.
Sorry, I wake up. But yeah, like that's something we can make like a duality support group.
Yeah.
Duality support group,
That'd be so cool.
Of like-minded people. We can,
cool.
if you're international, feel free to also reach out to my Instagram, Dualitea Podcast, TEA. And yeah, just stay tuned for what we got going.
Yes.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Ciao.